He's been making headlines for decades as one of the richest men in the world, but there's a lot about Bill Gates the average Microsoft user doesn't know. In light of the news of his impending divorce, here's the untold truth of the man who's a billionaire 130 times over. Future Microsoft co-owner Paul Allen met Bill Gates in high school. One summer, when Allen was back in Seattle from college and Gates was still a high school senior, they started a business. Just normal teenage boy shenanigans. They created a mini-computer to track the flow of traffic. Though that sounds incredibly boring, it could be very useful to cities wanting to know where to place new traffic signals or stop signs or make road alterations or repairs. Gates came up with the name Traf-O-Data, and Gates and Allen had a working prototype 2 years and $1,500 later. Unfortunately for the data duo, nobody cared. They did no market research, so they didn't realize that getting the local government to invest money in anything is a real pain. According to Newsweek, after 6 years of trying, Traf-O-Data lost $3,494 and was soon dragged to the recycling bin of history. Obviously, that didn't deter the pair from their commercial ambitions, and they went on to create Microsoft, probably to get revenge on those who didn't appreciate their cool traffic-related ideas. Bill Gates doesn't seem like a guy with a long rap sheet, but looks can be deceiving. In 1977, Gates was arrested in New Mexico, though his exact crime wasn't recorded. Could it be some kind of computer-related scheme? No, it was just a traffic violation, funnily enough, and since the authorities didn't record what specifically led to his arrest, the details of Gates' small-time criminal act have seemingly been lost to time. Though the specifics about the incident may be sketchy, it definitely happened, and the city of Albuquerque has the smiling mugshot to prove it. Way back in 1976, Bill Gates wrote an open letter to hobbyists to discourage people from using his software without paying. The technology was so new, it wasn't clearly covered under copyright law. Gates was adamant that the share and share alike culture of the time would discourage programmers from bothering to make new software if they knew it would only be stolen. Gates thought the letter would be the end of it, since open letters asking people to start paying for stuff they can get for free are usually very effective. But copyright law remains cloudy. In 1979, a federal court ruled that one company selling an exact copy of another company's computer chess game was not a violation of the law, according to Michael Beebe Craft's Bill Gates biography. By 1980, Gates had to speak out again about unlicensed software usage. In an interview with 80 Microcomputing magazine, Gates detailed the importance of software copyrights and said this: "There's nobody getting rich writing software that I know of." That was true at the time, and with the licensing issues and completely uncharted territory of the software world, Gates had no reason to think he'd wind up one of the richest men in the world. Talk about a reversal of fortune. Bill Gates and Paul Allen had a long history of working together. After the Traf-O-Data failure, the two pressed on, working feverishly to create software needed for the upcoming computer world. According to The Guardian, it was Allen, in fact, who came up with the name Microsoft. Gates had a lot of respect for Allen. In fact, he dropped out of Harvard his sophomore year to join Allen in New Mexico to grow their business. But he didn't always treat him as an equal. When they debuted their first major project, the programming language BASIC, Gates spent hours double-checking all of Allen's work. Turns out it was error-free. Despite Allen's major contributions to Microsoft, in 1982, he overheard Gates and Steve Ballmer, who ran the business side of the company, talking about Allen's diminishing contributions, conspiring about how they could dilute his equity, according to Business Insider. But Allen wasn't just slacking off, he had cancer. Allen called them out and quit the company a while later. Gates wanted to buy Allen out of his stock holdings at $5 a share. Allen wanted $10. Gates said no thank you, so Allen kept his stock and made almost $20 billion. Though Bill Gates had his share of difficulties, he's been rewarded for his software genius with a net worth of $124 billion as of 2021. He's not known for splashing out on crazy expensive purchases. Unlike Paul Allen, who owned the Seattle Seahawks, had a collection of vintage warplanes, and made a rock and roll museum in Seattle that contains lots from his personal collection, Gates doesn't have any such hobbies. But he did go all out on an insane house. Sitting on Lake Washington, the 66,000 square foot property is called Xanadu 2.0. Sadly, it's not because Gates is a big Olivia Newton-John fan. It's actually named after the fictional mansion of Charles Foster Kane from Citizen Kane. Though he doesn't seem like a gym rat, Gates built a 2,500-foot fitness center, complete with a trampoline room. The coolest part is that Xanadu 2.0 has crazy smart home technology that none of us will have for another 40 years. Every guest who enters is given a pin. That pin interacts with sensors around the house that will adjust your surroundings based on your taste of music and lighting. Gates was already ahead of the curve with touchpad technology, since he's had a pad in every room to control the temperature since 1995. Plus, within the walls of the mansion is the Codex Leicester, Leonardo da Vinci's notebook, which Gates bought for $30.8 million. If only everyone could grow up to live out every child's dream of owning a 16th century genius's scribbles.
And so they're unbelievable contributions to science.
Despite his lavish home, Bill Gates really does give a lot of his money away. Prior to their 2021 divorce announcement, Bill and Melinda Gates often topped the Forbes list of most philanthropic people. In just one typical year, the husband and wife foundation gave away $2.65 billion toward fighting malaria, polio, and other diseases, while donating tons to the World Health Organization. They also gave $50 million to the International AIDS Vaccine Initiative. The Gates Foundation also gives away millions in college scholarships and other educational causes. He's given nearly $1 billion out in scholarships to minority students, and recently set up a Cambridge scholarship program with a trust of $210 million. All in all, Bill and Melinda Gates have donated nearly $30 billion. It's nice to see all those billions aren't just going to trampoline maintenance. Now that he's stepped down from running Microsoft, Bill Gates has time for the little things in life, like Reddit AMAs. His 2017 Ask Me Anything was full of absolutely crucial facts, like that his favorite sandwich is a cheeseburger, he loves going to Australia for vacation, and that apparently he doesn't have a lot of parenting advice to share. When a father-to-be asked him for dad tips, Gates replied, "Melinda is very creative about helping me find chances to spend time with the kids. Even just driving them to school is a great time to talk to them." Gates seemed to take the Q&A seriously and even filmed a sketch to promote it. Clearly a viewer of Saturday Night Live, Gates did a David Pumpkins sequel as Christmas Pumpkins. Though his dancing leaves something to be desired, it's good that Gates chose to keep the Tom Hanks voice and do some fine lip-syncing work.
Any questions?
When they aren't busy talking to their dad in cars, the Gates kids must be getting ready for their sick billion-dollar inheritance, right? Well, Bill doesn't think his kids should get the majority of his wealth after he's gone. His 3 children won't have to work at McDonald's necessarily, but they aren't going to waste away in their own Xanadu-style mansions. Gates told ITV, "They are never going to be poorly off. Our kids will receive a great education and some money, but they'll go out and have their own career. It's not a favor to kids to have them have huge sums of wealth. It distorts anything they might do, creating their own path." Gates says each child will get $10 million. Luckily, his kids reportedly agree with his thrifty inheritance plan and are happy that the money will go to help those in much greater need. Though his children may not be able to have a house with 24 bathrooms, somehow they'll get by. Bill Gates doesn't seem to be the sportiest chap around, but that doesn't mean he completely lacks physical ability. In an interview with Connie Chung in 1994, she pulled out the hard questions, asking, "Is it true you can leap over a chair from a standing position?" First of all, that's a classic example of some real gotcha journalism. Regardless, Gates happily admitted that the rumor is true and that he can indeed easily jump over chairs, though he did specify, quote, "It depends on the size of the chair." To illustrate this talent, Gates was happy to jump over a regular old office chair on national TV. In his 2017 Reddit AMA, Gates said this isn't something he can do anymore. When asked, "Can you still jump over an office chair from a standing position?" Gates responded, "No, perhaps a small chair, a stool. I do exercise and ski, but my main sport is tennis, which doesn't involve jumping. Some people jump over the nets, but that isn't part of the sport. Looks like there's an opening for famous billionaire chair jumper. Your move, Elon Musk." Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more grunge videos about your favorite famous figures are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.